UAV drones. The use of unmanned aerial vehicles, otherwise known as UAVs or drones, has become one of the most talked about topics in the last few years. While UAVs start as being primarily used for military operations, many big-name companies such as Amazon.com are now in development of implementing drones for delivery services. In addition to commercial use, drones are being used for scientific, government, and social purposes all around the world. Typically, drones are used for surveying lands that would otherwise be potentially dangerous for humans to explore. The military uses drones primarily for reconnaissance and airstrikes. However, more and more people are turning them into a hobby similar to RC planes. With the advancement of microchips, the future of flying aerial vehicles is among us, and with that comes ethical and legal issues. Technology and development. The definition of a UAV drones has changed over the years. However, Chris Anderson, editor-in-chief of Wired and Drone Enthusiast, says, it refers to aircraft that have the capability of autonomous flight, which means they can follow a mission from point to point. The key word when referring to UAVs, Anderson says later, is the autopilot technology, which until the 20th century was impossible. Early on, the gadgets used to achieve this were complex devices such as barometric pressure meters and mechanical gyroscopes. While pilotless aircrafts are thought of as being a modern-day invention, history shows us that drones, the word being used loosely, have been around for more than 150 years. On August 2, 1849, Austria launched an aerial attack on Italy by sending some 200 unmanned air balloons attached with bombs to Italy. Just 49 years later, during the Spanish-American War, the U.S. military equipped cameras on the kites to get aerial photos of landscapes. However, drones nowadays are much more technologically advanced and efficient than the ones used then. Essentially, the electronics used in drones are the same and found in today's smartphones and can even be controlled by using a smartphone. Drones can easily range from hundreds to thousands of dollars for the everyday users. The drones used by governments such as the Global Hawk drone cost $140 million to produce. Obviously, for the sake of public safety, these two categories of availability differ in features. For every day, one can attach a GoPro HD camera to their drones and get breathtaking real-time video and pictures of the landscape and sky. Security. When talking about the topic of security with regards to UAV drones, one paints a much broader picture than that of cybersecurity, or the security of computers. President Obama has said, the cyber threat to our nation is one of the most serious and economic national security challenges we face. Obviously, if this kind of technology arises a need for security protocols. In an article published by University of Texas Austin, Professor Todd Humphreys' research team showed representatives of the United States Department of Homeland Security how UAVs in flight could be controlled by unwanted parties. The technical term for this event is known as spoofing and works by sending GPS signals to a UAV to deviate from its course. Milton R. Clarley, a senior aviation analyst for the Department of Defense, says, I think this demonstration should certainly raise some eyebrows and serve as a wake-up call of sorts of how safe our critical infrastructure is from spoofing attacks. While the United States is currently world leader in creating and making rules for military use, it is lacking the proper procedures for civilian use. Supporters of the unmanned aerial vehicles pressured the Federal Aviation Administration for the availability of personal drones at commercial airspace altitude at a hearing in January of 2014. The result was that the FAA would take over a year in order to properly show that drones could fly safely amongst military and commercial planes at higher altitude. However, the FAA does not expect full integration until the end of the decade. Laws and ethics. The biggest concern next to security of UAV drones are the ethical and legal questions concerning their use. This is especially true as more drones become part of militaries worldwide. The question raised is, are drones ethically acceptable to use in combat? Charles Dunlap, a Major General of the United States Air Force, says, in reality, there is nothing unethical about waging war from afar, and there is nothing especially unusual about it. He further explains how throughout history, wars have been fought through use of aerial weapons such as bows and slings. However, further questions rise, such as can soldiers make professional decisions, and the further they distance themselves from the battlefield? In other words, can the use of drones make soldiers feel more like they are playing a video game and make them numb when it comes to moral decisions? Dr. Peter Singer from the Brookings Institute found higher levels of combat stress among some drone units than among some units in Afghanistan. He goes on further to explain that drone operators had significantly increased fatigue, emotional exhaustion, and burnout. This rules out the notion that soldiers view drone control panels as merely video games. Another ethical dilemma faced with drone warfare is that of moral courage. Moral courage, as opposed to physical bravery, refers to doing the right thing in urgent circumstances. Therefore, the kind of courage needed in cyber warfare is not physical one, but of moral integrity. In an article released by Kelsey Atherton of Popular Science, the legal issue raised is it illegally acceptable to shoot down a drone for trespassing. The incident occurred when a New Jersey man was arrested for shooting down a neighbor's drone hovering over his house above. The man was charged with possession of a weapon for unlawful purpose and criminal mischief. A judge might find the man to be guilty of obstruction of property. The law is unclear yet on how this trespassing of drones to be handled. It could be viewed as the same as an animal wandering onto a neighbor's property. Benefits. It goes without saying that a small, cost-effective flying robot could go a long way in helping human beings. Because of their relatively small size and ability to fly, a crucial way drones could help humankind is for search and rescue operations. At the University of Cincinnati, a student named Wei Wei has been developing engineering software that could enable drones to fly autonomously with a human operator acting merely as an advisor. With time being a key part for search and rescue operations, this is a huge benefit for drones as they could, without hesitation, fly through dangerous forest fires or flooded areas in search of people in need. Another way which drones could benefit public safety is in the tracking of criminals that have escaped from police custody. The Police Department of Sacramento have developed a new program with drones acting as an eye in the sky. With cameras attached to UAVs, police could have drones set up in designated areas in search of criminals. Not only could drones aid police in the catching of escaped criminals, but they could act as movable security cameras for neighborhoods. Conclusion. Without a doubt, UAVs will be seen more and more in the years to come. Their potential for use by governments, commercial business, and individuals is just beginning to be explored. With wider use of drones in the future, there is a great need to address legal and ethical issues which continue to arise. Security measures must also be implemented for the welfare of all. There is much potential for good, but caution must be taken.